Hey guys, and welcome back to Your One Room Schoolhouse. If you are new here, my name is Mary Barfield and I'm a homeschooling mama to a first and a third grader. And today's video is going to be a flip through as well as a review of Math with Confidence, third grade. Now we are well over a quarter of a way through this program. There are 16 units in here and we are currently working our way through unit 5. And we have been able to use this program enough that I feel very confident in giving it a review. Spoiler alert, we love it. So a little background on us and our experience with Math with Confidence. So with my youngest daughter, we used Kate Snow's, who is the author of this Math with Confidence series, Kate Snow right there. We have used her preschool at home with my youngest daughter when she was in pre-K. We have used the kindergarten level with my youngest daughter, first grade with both of my kiddos. I am at present using second grade level with my youngest daughter, and then third grade right now with my oldest daughter. So we have used in some capacity all levels to include her preschool level, which is not technically part of Math with Confidence, but we're going to include it. We have used all of her levels from pre-K up to third grade. So if you're not familiar with Math with Confidence, she is currently going to be making up to grade 6. She has mentioned that she's not going to go any higher than grade 6, which makes me kind of sad, but I understand her reasoning. She said it doesn't make sense because her expertise stops at 6th grade. She said there's no point in me going further than that, but she provides recommendations on her website, which I will link down below, of great programs you can use past Math with Confidence, which makes me feel a little bit better about the fact that this is going to stop at 6th grade, but I kind of hope she reconsiders because we love this program and it works so well for both my girls. Kate Snow takes a approach that is very much influenced by Singapore math, which I'm a big fan of the way that that works. That's kind of how my brain approaches math. But it's in a more gentle, hands-on way. This program is what I would consider mastery with review. So it's a little bit of spiral mixed with mastery. But I love the fact that each lesson has a warm-up review at the beginning of concepts you've already learned, but it is the way it's laid out, approaching it in a mastery way where you focus on concepts and then you move on in the next unit to another concept, but you don't leave the previous concept behind. You continue to review it with that daily review. So it's a little bit of the best of both worlds, in my opinion. It is more hands-on, but as the years go on, it becomes a little bit less hands-on and a little bit more focused on writing work. I will get this camera turned around so you can see inside each of the books. So we have the teacher's instructor guide, as well as there is a student guide. However, I decided to buy the PDF version because with my youngest daughter, I can just reprint this off. So I print out a unit at a time and I put it in my oldest daughter's working binder under her math section. There is a part A book and then there is a part B student workbook. So she split the workbook into 2 for the student. The instructor guide is in black and white, which is great for me. I don't care. I don't need the color. And it also saves on costs for them printing. So it makes this a cheaper program and much more affordable. But they do maintain color for the student notebook. If you do the PDF version for the student as well as the instructor guide, they provide you 2 files. They will give you a file for this one specifically that is full of color, right? They will, as if you were printing the actual physical student workbook at home. They also provide you a second option, which is called a printer-friendly option. And that doesn't remove color, but it removes a lot of the extraneous color that is not necessary to the lesson. And so we actually print out that version of it. So you will see what that looks like versus the actual student workbook. If you were to purchase the physical copy, it's gonna look a little different. There's a little less color in here, but it doesn't remove it completely. It just makes it more economical for you to print it at home. So those are the components that you would get if you purchase it. You get the instructor guide and then you would get 2 workbooks. This is the first year they split the student workbook into 2, and I get it. The reason they do that is so that it's more manageable for the child to hold. Otherwise it would be way too big of a book for them to hold if it was all in one. So before I flip the camera around, I wanted to give you a brief overview of what we like about the program. For us, we like it because, one, it really connects with my kiddos' way of learning. There is hands-on components. They have manipulatives, but the way that she creates the manipulative kit is that there's not one for you to purchase. She makes it, again, very affordable for you to do this at home without having to buy a big $100, $150 math kit. She includes in here, which I'll show you in the instructor guide, this is what you are going to need for this level. And it's all things that you can either get around your house or you can purchase for fairly inexpensively at your Dollar Tree. Like you need dice, you need a deck of cards, you need 10 sticks and 10 base blocks. Again, these are all at my Dollar Tree. I'm not kidding. So you can easily make this an affordable option. Or you can go out and buy the fancy schmancy stuff off of Rainbow Resource and all that stuff too, right? You can do it whatever way you want, but she gives you the option to do that. So I love that it is fairly priced, but also the math kit is not insanely expensive and it's pretty easy to create on your own from the things that you have at home or at Dollar Tree or things like that. I love that it does have those hands-on components, especially in the younger years. They start to get less as you get older, so there's less hands-on in this level than there was in second grade and especially in first grade, which I understand because the kiddos are getting older, they're able to understand it better, but it makes it more conceptual. The way she teaches, she's not gonna just tell you, hey, memorize your multiplication facts. She's not gonna do that. What she does in this, and it's really working well with my third grader understanding multiplication, is she actually explains the why behind it. Why does 1 times 3 equal 3? You know, you have one group of 3, and it's actually more like she creates these shortcuts for the kiddo to understand, like, okay, what is 4 times 3? Well, we know 2 times 3, double 3 is 6, and then we just double 6 again because we've got 4 groupings of it. So, and then she lays it out in a way that's just really easy for my kiddos to understand. They are doing so well with this, the way that she teaches. So I like that it's not rote memorization. I love that it is conceptual math, and they get to understand the why behind the math. And that's with every level, not just this level, of course. I will say that this program is more parent intensive than probably some others. However, this is the first level. Well, yeah, this is the first level that there are not 2 worksheets. There are actually 3 per lesson. The first worksheet is actually for the lesson, which she hasn't done that in previous levels. And then the second one is practicing on their own, independent practice, practicing the concepts you learned in the first lesson. And then the third page is actually going to be a review page of previous concepts learned. So the lesson itself that I do with my kiddo is maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes, maybe most. It's normally around the 10 mark. And then the rest of the time that she's doing math for the 20, 25 minutes is going to be all her on her own. So there is actually quite a bit of independence in this level, I would say, at least from previous levels. And you can see it as the levels go on, there's a little bit more independence put in there, but she does it in a gradual manner, which I think is perfect. I think it is so well done. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, Math with Confidence, it seems pretty gentle. It's not. It's rigorous. Like, you're learning everything. Like, it's, a lot of people think it's behind or something like that. It's not. You are learning everything you need to know for grade level. And I think it might be a smidge ahead. Like, in a few lessons, or in a few units, we're going to learn division. And we're in 3rd grade. I thought you didn't touch division until 4th grade, but maybe I'm wrong. That's just my opinion. But I have used other math programs, and I would say this is a very strong, rigorous program, but it doesn't feel like it to the kid, and it doesn't feel like it to the parent because it is so well laid out and so easy to implement, and it's not overwhelming. You're not getting, 2 pages front and back with like multiplication facts and going through them. It's not like that, right? It is the perfect amount, in my opinion, of work. And if you want to, because we got the PDF student pages, I can reprint pages if I want to then have my kid do extra practice. Another thing that I think actually pairs well with this is Math Mammoth, and we do have their review sheets. So if I feel like my kids ever need more practice, which so far this level, I don't think we need it, I would just print off some of those as well. So if you're ever looking for a nice combo, I think Math with Confidence and Math Mammoth pair up really well. So if you can't tell, we love it. There's a few other things that I'm going to mention, but it makes more sense to get into the books and I can talk about what we've liked about it so far. So I'm going to flip the camera around. We're going to get into the instructor guide as well as the student workbook. I'm basically going to show you what's in the front of this book so you know what to expect. And then I'll show you like a lesson, what that would look like using this book with the student workbook. All right, y'all, here is the instructor guide. As you can see, I have 2 tabs up here, which I will explain in a little bit, but I just wanted to mention those are to keep me in my place for my lesson, as well as the answer key for the lesson that we're on. So when you open it up, As you can see, it's all in black and white. You have your table of contents. So this is the first level when you move from grade 2 to grade 3 that she deviates from the 4 lessons or the optional 5th lesson of enrichment per week to now a unit approach in scheduling. She makes it very open for you to schedule as you please. We do 4 lessons per week, and that is working perfectly for us because even without knowing how many weeks there are, I think the lessons, it turns out to be 32 weeks if you do 5 lessons a week, and it's 36 weeks, I think, if you do 4 lessons. She says it somewhere in the book. If I find it, I'll let you know. But you can easily complete this in a year. And she lays it out how you do that in the book, but I'll show that to you. But as you can see, here's what you are going to learn this year. We're going to be reviewing addition and subtraction initially, multiplications, getting into that, getting into fractions. We're reviewing money again. We've got length, perimeter, area, division, geometry, elapsed time, weight, and capacity. And then in the back of the book, there are a lot of resources, which I will show you in a minute. Welcome to 3rd grade Math with Confidence. So this is just kind of a high-level overview of the program, talking about how it's scripted, open and go, how they have explanation notes for you guys if you need it. There's wrap-ups, there's checkpoints. I love the checkpoints. I love the wrap-ups because it makes sure that your kiddo is where they need to be, or if you need to go back and review more concepts. That's the thing that a lot of other programs I've tried didn't have, is they didn't provide you a, hey, stop here. Your child should know these things. If not, you should do X, Y, and Z. Other programs have said, hey, stop here. Your kiddo should know this. If they don't, figure it out. I'm not kidding. This actually tells you what you should do to practice further a concept that maybe your child has not mastered before moving on to the next lesson. And that is so helpful and so supportive. So, moving on to the next, you've got your introduction. What are the goals? Understanding the fact that it is deep conceptual understanding that we're going for. Proficiency, having a positive attitude, because it is called Math with Confidence for a reason. It's all about building confidence in our kids with math. They're here, it's explaining how they've made a change. Now we've organized it into 16 units and how that looks. There are a total of 144 lessons, though, in the whole entire program to help you with scheduling. So here it talks about how on average lessons should be about 25 to 35 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of a parent-led portion of it, explaining the concept, teaching the lesson, and then another 15 to 20 minutes of independent work. But of course it depends on your child and it will vary. But in her pilot programs, that's what they found to be the average time. They also explain how each lesson is laid out. Bold text indicates what you are to say because it is scripted. Italics is telling you this is what the answer should be, or a sample answer if it's an open-ended question. And then gray highlighted text indicates there's the explanation notes. So for you, it's not for you to explain to your child, but it's to be explained to you why you're doing something the way it is, or why it is done that way, so that you can understand better and teach it better. Like, it is so well done, y'all. It also then reviews how the student workbook has changed in this lesson. You've gone from 2 pages to 3 pages per lesson, which is a deviation from the previous lesson. So we're getting a little bit more challenging. There's a little bit more work. The kids are getting older. There's also a warm-up activity and memory work that you can do every day. You can choose to do it, or if you're like, my kid knows this already, you don't need to keep harping on it, right? It's at your discretion based on your child's understanding of the concepts. And then it talks about how the first lesson is going to be, or excuse me, the first page, which this is new, is for the actual lesson. In previous levels, you didn't have a page in your student notebook when you were doing the actual lesson. But in this one, you do. You actually use a sheet alongside some manipulatives to teach the lesson. The second lesson is then your practice, independent practice sheet. And then the third lesson is your review of previous concepts. Now, they do provide an enrichment lesson at the end of each unit. In previous levels, it was at the end of each week. So if you wanted to do a 4-day week, you just did lesson 1, 2, 3, 4. If you wanted to do a 5th week, there was an optional enrichment lesson for each week. Now they provide it at the end of each unit. We previously have not done the enrichment units just for the sake of time and schedule. However, in this level, we have been doing the enrichment lessons and we've been really enjoying them. So I'm pretty excited about that. Oh, and also, this might be important to some, but they do actually provide a picture book recommendation. So it doesn't stop at this level. You still get your picture book recommendation. And I will say, my 3rd grader, she loves a picture book still. So I totally love that they still include that. And then at the end of every unit, there's a unit wrap up and review and assessment to make sure your kiddo is meeting what they need to. I'll show you the checkpoints in here, like is my kid ready to move on to the next unit? And then here is where they ask, is your child ready to start third grade math? This is what your child needs to know in order to start this program, so they make it pretty easy for you to understand if you're in the right level or not. And then here it explains how they tell you, like, should we move on to the next unit or should my child do some further things? That's all included in the checkpoint. And then, oh, here's the scheduling. Okay, so I knew it was in here. So 4 days per week will get you, leave you. So there are 144 lessons in total, which we are doing because I like the enrichment lessons. But there are 128 regular lessons if you don't do the enrichment. So if you do only the regular lessons, you can complete this program in 4 days per week and leave an open, day for whatever else you got going on. If you want to do the 144 lessons, you probably should do 5 days per week just to make it fit better. We're doing it 4 days a week and with the enrichment, and we're still going to finish right at the end of the year. So I think it's okay. Do what works best for your schedule though. And then they talk about how you can make adjustments to the lesson, to your kiddo, how to create your math kit. So these are all the things you'll need. Base 10 blocks, counters, small counters, we use erasers. Coins, we have a kit that we purchased 3 years ago that is fake money, paper and coins, and it has worked great for us. I'll link ours down below if I can still find it. And then a clock with hands. You can use one that's on your wall. We got a wooden clock that shows the hands and the seconds and stuff and the minutes and everything. This year, the new thing we had that from previously. The new things I had to include this year were fraction circles, and I went ahead and purchased some fraction rectangles. I'll link them down below. We love them. They're really good. You need a ruler, playing cards and dice, blank paper, pencils, magic eraser, and page protectors are huge. I'll show you what that looks like. And then a binder to hold your page protectors. These are for your black line masters, which you will use for your different lessons. I'll show those in a second. And then other supplies you might need. There's some notes for families living outside the US with regards to metric system and things like that. So that's the intro to the book. Here is the first unit. Now, I don't have the first unit in this binder anymore. We're on unit 5. So let's actually fast forward to unit 5 because then I can show you what's in the student notebook. Okay, so you've just completed unit 4. There is a checkpoint. So here, what to expect at the end of unit 4, what should my child understand? It's whether master or starting to understand, it'll tell you which one it should be. If your child is ready to move on, this is what should be in place. What to do if your child needs more practice, and it'll tell you more things for them to do. Let's say your child's ready to move on. So we go to unit 5. They give us a complete overview of what we're going to be learning, how many lessons are in here, what's being taught at each lesson, any extra materials you might need so you can gather them ahead of time and just have them ready to go. All right. And then talking about teaching with place value and mental multiplication. And again, this is an overview of what's happening in the unit. So lesson 5.1, we're going to round to the nearest 100. So when I open this book to start a lesson, the first thing I look at is what materials do I need? I pull those out really fast. I just understand, I do a quick perusal of what is the purpose of this. And I look at the memory work. If my child I know knows this, I don't do it. She knows it. I don't move. I just move on. So I don't do memory work. So warm up A is going to be in the students' workbook. So let me pull that out. Okay, so warm-up A is going to require us to use this right here. So the warm-up does not always use the page here, but in this situation it did. So we needed this printout section. So section A is right here, so this is our warm-up. So it says, and what's in bold you read. So I would read, we're beginning a unit on the numbers to 1,000 today. Let's warm up with some place value riddles, So then I read all this stuff to her. As you can see in italics, the answer is there for me. So she can't see that, so I don't show this to her. This number has 1 digit. And she said to me, okay, 8, and she crossed it out. So we go back and forth and we complete that. That literally took less than 5 minutes. Also, if you guys want to see a real day in the life of what a math lesson would look like, let me know down in the comments. I'm happy to film that for you guys next time we do a lesson, but just let me know. So that's our warm-up. Then we move on to activity B. So that's this section right here. Review expanded form. Today we'll review how to write 3-digit numbers in expanded form. So we went over that. I read her everything. the gray part is like what is explaining to you why we're doing this. And then section C, or excuse me, there's continuing, and it's a back and forth, it's all scripted. And then section C is this part right here, introduce rounding to the nearest 100. We did this back and forth script. And then we moved on to here for activity D, use the number line to round to the nearest 100. So she used that, we rounded to the nearest 100. And then once we were done with that, I made sure she understood the concept. She did. That honestly took less than 10 minutes to do all that. I know it seems like a lot, but it really isn't. It's really fast. And because it's scripted, it goes quickly. So then after that's done, I say, okay, flip your page over, do your practice page. This is practicing the concept we just reviewed. She does this. I don't check it. I let her finish the second one, the second practice page, and this is all review. So the third page for the day is review of previous concepts. And then she does all that. Once she's done with all that, I say, okay, let me see your pages. And I always move these tabs to where I need them to be. There's an answer key at the end of each unit. So then, well, since we're past this, hold on, sorry, I would have had the tab here. So 5.1, can I do these? Abso-freaking-lutely. Is it way quicker to look at this and do a quick visual? Okay, you got that right, got that right, got right, that done. Great. Let's move on to here. Okay, got that right, got that right. Okay, great, move on. Rather than saying, okay, 9 plus 94 plus 6 is 100. Yeah, I can do that, but it's a lot easier to do this time-wise. So then I check that, and then we're done for the day. Now, let's look at the back of the book, because there's a lot in the back of the book that you don't want to miss. Okay, so that's the end of Unit 16. So we finished the book. Here's where all the additional resources come in. She gives you a complete list of all the picture books that she uses for the enrichment lessons. So you can just go get them all at once if you want, or you can keep ahead of this. Maybe they have them at your library. You can figure out how you want to get those. She also has a full scope and sequence in the back here, which would be great if you need to provide this to any kind of authority, like your state, a charter school if you're under one, whatever you need to. That's great for that. Here is a complete list of all the memory work your child's going to learn. So this is review memory work, stuff that you should have learned in previous levels. And here's all the new memory work, and she tells you which unit you're going to learn it in, so you can get ahead of that as well. She has a full materials list here. And then this is the Blackline Masters in the back. This is great. So these are pages of information or paper manipulatives that you will use throughout the year with this program. Now, if you don't want to copy these, because they're meant to be copied and printed out, if you don't want to do that, what I do is I go to welltrainedmind.com. I go to this this item in the shop. I go to the instructor guide for level 3. They have the Blackline master samples on a link that you can click and then print them all out from there. I'll link that down below so you can go check that out. That is way easier. Then what I do is I put all of those Blackline masters, well, the ones that we use a lot, in page protectors. And then that way my daughter can like write with a dry erase marker on here if she needs to. The other ones are in my binder, which I didn't bring in here. Sorry, guys. But here's like a dot array and L cover, which helps with multiplication practice. So she uses that a lot. So I put that in her binder for her to use. But here are all the Blackline masters. So the first one is memory work, which you saw. I have that in her binder because that's memory work she is working on. And then here, this is one, how to read word problems. They have a place value chart up to the thousands, addition and subtraction algorithms, like, you know, when to go here, yes, record your work, or trade, that's what you just saw in my daughter's binder that I cut out. This is multiplication strategy for her. If you don't want to purchase fraction circles, she has this where you can print them out on cardstock and you like can color them in. See, she gives you the color, what to color them, and you can use just cardstock versions of it. Or if you want to laminate them, like you can make this really inexpensive to implement. She even provides you a ruler. Like this is pretty good, right? As well as the quadrilateral cards for shapes, pentominos, I cannot say that word, which will be used later on in the program. We haven't gotten to that yet. I don't know what this is yet, so this must be for later on too as well. Probably 3D shapes. Kind of reminds me of Paper Sloyd, y'all. That's a cone. Yep, that makes sense. I think these are shapes for later. And then if you don't want to buy base 10 blocks, she has it. So again, you can print these out on cardstock so they're more durable and laminate them, and then you can have it that way. And then as well as she even gives you play money if you need it. On top of that, she also provides all the games, because this is game based. She'll provide you additional games here in the book. And then acknowledgements, and then we're done, guys. So that's the entire program. It has been such an amazing program for my family and I. Both my girls have done so well with it, and we really have our groove with it. And it takes us no more than 25 minutes to do a lesson at this point, and it's just been amazing. Nothing bad to say about it. We love it. All right, y'all, I hope you found that helpful if you are looking into Math with Confidence 3rd grade or Math with Confidence at all. I do have a review on 1st grade Math with Confidence that I will link down below if you want to go check that out. I do plan to do a review of my youngest daughter's 2nd grade Math with Confidence here soon, so keep an eye out for that if you're looking for the 2nd grade level, because there are different nuances between the levels. If you have any questions about anything, leave it down below in the comments. I'll link everything down below that I can. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you stick around, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.